because it's a CFL game day. We've got hockey and football to get to with him, all related to the nation's capital. So, Bud, good to see you. Big game tonight. It's been 5 days since Marcel Desjardins was let go as GM of the Red Blacks. Seems to me like a month ago. How do you think that'll affect the team's mindset tonight against Calgary at TD Place?
Honestly, I don't think it has any factor. I mean, it's not the coaching staff, right? It's management. Look, there's people, got like Antoine Pruneau, for example, and he's not playing tonight. Nolan McMillan's not playing tonight. But, people that have been with the organization since day one, people that have won Grey Cups that, aren't all that pleased that Marcel lost his job. So, there's that. I mean, he's got some good relationships within the team, as you would when you've been there for such a long time. But the reality is it's, the same coaching staff. And, unfortunately, from an Ottawa perspective, the two of the three phases have been good this year. The defense gave up 96 points in 2 games against Montreal and BC. And other than that, they've been really good. And the special teams, to me, again, I think under Bob Dice, the best in the league, whether it's Richie Leone's punting, the coverage teams, when Devontae Dedmon's been healthy, most electrifying player in the league for me, and Lewis Ford, the most accurate kicker in CFL history. But, there's one phase where, it's been woefully inept, and that's on offense. I mean, right now, 9 offensive touchdowns in 11 games, and, less than 0.9 a game. That's the second worst in CFL history. And as long as the offensive line doesn't get healthier, they do get Mark Gordy back this week, but they got one back and lose 2 to injury, and Jawan Bushell-Beatty and Tyler Catalina. So every week it's been a different group of 5, which is incredible to me. I mean, the year they first went to the Grey Cup with the Red Blacks in 2015, they used the same 5 guys all 18 regular season games. And this year it's a different combo every week. And as long as, that group can't give the requisite protection to Caleb Evans and Duck Hodges, and, it's going to be tough sledding for this Red Blacks offense.
We got questions coming in from viewers. Guys, remind me, Darren in Salt Lake City's got a good one, AJ. Remind me, Darren in Salt Lake City. But I got to ask you this. I saw the outpouring of emotion from staff of the Red Blacks after Marcel was fired. It seemed like the franchise agonized over this move. Is that a fact?
Yeah, no, I don't think there's any doubt. And, I know some people talk about the fact that, Marcel isn't the most popular guy in player circles around the league. And in some cases, that's going to be true, right? If you're a CFL general manager, you're not going to be universally popular because you're the one responsible at times for, releasing guys and making tough decisions. That's just the reality of the job. But, there are absolutely players and staff members and part of the ownership group and, decision makers here that had to make this move that, this is not an easy move for sure. He was their first employee back in 2013, working in an office by himself. And let's not forget that, Ottawa football, I'm 46 years old. The only Ottawa football that I can ever remember that's been good was under Marcel Desjardins, with Rick Campbell as head coach in a 4-year span where they go to 3 Grey Cups and they win one in 2016. So the best span of football that we've seen in this city since the 1970s. So, that shouldn't be forgotten. They did agonize over the decision. But in the end, they've lost 24 of their last 27 games. And, the common denominator, you've had 2 coaches, right? He brought in Paul LaPolice after, Rick Campbell ended up going to BC. And that, unfortunately for him, the common denominator is same management, right? So in the end, that's what management decided to do and go in a different direction. And we'll see, where the search goes from here.
Seems very black and white to me, but clearly it wasn't that black and white. So the question here, Darren from Salt Lake City says, ask AJ why the Red Blacks stayed out of the quarterback merry-go-round of the past few weeks in the CFL. You clearly needed one somewhere out there. What's the team saying about sticking with their guys they have?
Yeah, I think, they want to get a look at Duck Hodges. They signed Duck Hodges to a 3-year contract, right? So I think they like what they see a little bit out of Caleb Evans, for sure. He's made some mistakes, no doubt. But it's really difficult to judge these quarterbacks right now. I don't think you could bring in Josh Allen and see him have success just, with the different offensive lines. And I think there's some decent skill players here as well, but it's you're not going to mix it for the best in the league. It's, you look at what Montreal's got at the skill positions and Stanback and Eugene Lewis and BJ Cunningham and Jake Winicky and Quan Bray. And it's, right now they don't measure up to that. So, everything on the offensive side of the ball compared to the rest of the league isn't good enough from that standpoint. Do I think they could be involved in the offseason? I think they could, but again, what's going to be out there? I mean, I don't know if Trevor Harris is potentially going to be a fit here. Nick Arbuckle, the guy that got traded, I mean, he was here and they decided to move on from him, right? And go with Matt Nichols. And that didn't work out, but it's not like you were going to go out and bring back Nick Arbuckle or Trevor Harris. So, I do think they'll be looking at that in the offseason. I know when Dwayne Ford was on our radio station, he thought that, this is a team that definitely needed more of a sure thing in terms of a quarterback in the offseason rather than a couple of maybes like Evans and Hodges. So, I would suspect that that's going to be part of what is brought into the offseason from a new general manager, but we'll wait and see.
I think that's covered all the questions from the viewers. Moving on to the Senators, who are 2-4 and 7th place in the Atlantic Division. That's an incredibly difficult division, AJ. I don't know who expected they would make the playoffs, but 2-4 is not as good as I think they would have expected to start. Moose and I were listening to you on the pre and post the other day, driving back from Edmonton. Great job. What's the word on the Sens?
Yeah, I think they've thrown away some points here. I mean, they're up 2-0 against the Rangers, and in the third period, and in a 6-minute span, 2-0 became 3-2, and you don't even get a point, and that's tough to swallow. The East is a lot better than the West. I don't expect this team to be a playoff here. I'm just hoping, and I think fans are hoping for the most part, that they take another step. And if this team finishes with 85 points and misses the playoffs, by 8, I think that's a step forward. I mean, last year they were out of it, 15, 16 games of the season. They're 2-13-1 out of the gate, and they had no hope of coming back and making it. So they have to ensure that they nip this in the bud quickly and get, a couple of wins here on the road when they go to Dallas and Chicago and Minnesota. And the last game in particular looks like it's going to be a tough one. But, this team just isn't a playoff team for me yet. There's a lot of great building blocks here, but to me on the blue line, you've got, a really good top pair with Thomas Chabot and Artem Zub. I like the addition of Nick Holden, as ex-Western Leaguer out of Chilliwack. But beyond that, I mean, Zaitsev is the top 6 guy, but beyond that, the depth is lacking there. And a lot of the guys that you expect to be kind of long-term cornerstones are either in the American Hockey League right now, and Jacob Bernard-Docker and Lassie Thompson, or, a guy like Jake Sanderson, who's expected to be, a cornerstone piece for this team for a long, long time. And I think Sanderson will he's having a whale of a start this year at North Dakota. I thought he was the best player in the gold medal game last year when the U.S. beat Canada 2-0. And I think there's a good chance he'll be the captain of Team Canada this year. So I think when his season is done at North Dakota, then he's probably coming right to Ottawa. But, that doesn't change the fact that, the guys that are quote-unquote placeholders until these guys are ready are getting caved in right now. So with all that being said, I think, as much as there's a lot of promise here right now, I think they're probably a year away. We'll see if they can at least be competitive enough to make it interesting into the spring.
AJ, wonderful visit as always. It's a game day. Appreciate you slipping us in. Keep in touch, my man.
Pleasure. I'm disappointed you're not dressed up like Beard, though.
I got this. Does that not count?
It's not bad. It's not bad.
It's
not
something.
as good as Ted, though.
No, not even close.
Ted Ringer for Ted Lasso.
I know. I can't touch that one. What's your outfit? Don't come at me.
Oh, I'll think about that. I still have a day to think about that.
Yeah, good point. Good
How
point.
about that?
All right, good luck tonight. We'll be watching, AJ.
Cheers, fellas.
All right, the great AJ Jakubec, one of my longest and closest friends. Hey, everybody, thanks for watching the RP Show on YouTube. And don't forget, we're live daily on YouTube from noon to 2 Eastern. If you like what you see, hit subscribe. And if you like the program, check around for other segments of The Rod Pedersen Show here on YouTube.